Now, again, that's kind of like the coins in Mario 64, so it's not really that bad of a mechanic, at least from an original standpoint, but it's still annoying, and I'll tell you more about it later. So there we got our second one here, our second Jiggy here on the overworld, and unfortunately, every time you go into a level, enemies come out, and they kind of roam around in the overworld, which they're not that much of a threat, honestly. So instead of going back all the way back to Mumbo's and having him transform us back, we can literally just walk out of this area and we'll automatically transform back. Yay! That's much better than having to go all the way back. I like that they instituted that. Yeah, and then Grunty's just telling us that yes, there are enemies out there. And now this slope, we couldn't traverse it before, but now that we have the talent trot that we learned in the first world, we can just head right on up. And up here, there's a honeycomb door. There's a honeycomb thing, a bottles mound, and a door that says 50 notes. It's a note door sealed by Grunty with one of her powerful musical spells. Bottles can't open it, but we can, since we collected all 100 notes on the first level. That's more than the maximum note score of this door, meaning that we can actually collect. The more notes that we collect, the more doors we can open, and by getting at least 50, we're able to progress through the game. Now, this is why I dislike the note mechanic in this game. The notes reset every time you actually leave a level, meaning that, again, if you die, you have to, and you haven't collected them all, you have to collect all of them again to be able to actually get all 100. To finish the game and to get everything that there is to get in this game, you have to get all 900 notes from all 9 worlds, which is not an easy thing to do, as you'll see in later levels. And the fact that notes reset and you have a limited number of lives make this game much more difficult than it really needs to be. Now, we got one of Grunty's minions right over here that we can just basically one-shot at this stage, and he was guarding this door that leads downward. And we're going to want to come down here because this is kind of important. These are magical cauldrons that we're going to be finding throughout Grunty's lair. As the description says, if we find 2 or of the same color, they allow us to warp in between them and traverse Grunty's lair relatively quickly. And you might think that's not that big of a deal. How big can this place be? This place is enormous. You have no idea. This place gets really, really big. Now, there is something there that we could do. We can't jump up there yet, though, because we haven't got that move. So we're going to have to come over here to that puzzle, but let's go ahead and talk to this lady before we do that. So this is Brentilda, Grunty's sister, who would fortunately be dropped for the sequel because she is a horrible, unnecessary character. Basically, she's going to tell you disgusting trivia about Grunty, which is, I believe, randomized on every playthrough. And you're going to need to listen to her because it actually is important. So let's go ahead and fix this puzzle. I don't know why you would ever want to take puzzle pieces out unless you had more than one puzzle you were trying to choose from. And we open up a next world. Treasure Trove Cove. So we still have 9 Jiggies left. You notice that our maximum Jiggy count does go down every time we use a Jiggy to open a thing. But the game does keep track of how many we've actually had overall. So you don't need to worry about that. Alright, so we're on to the next area of the lair. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can go. You can go down there through that doorway there. You can go up through that doorway if we have enough notes. I don't think we do. No, it's 180. So we need to at least finish one more course 100% to be able to unlock that door. Let's go ahead and head down through here, though, through this pipe. It allows us to reach this area with another minion who we can easily kill. You're going to be seeing these guys throughout most of the overworld. They're basically just annoyances. They're not that interesting. So now we found the red cauldron. We already found the purple one earlier. Basically, what that means is that there's 2 red cauldrons and 2 purple cauldrons in the lair somewhere, and by finding them, that allows us to warp between different locations within the lair without having to walk there the whole way, which is really, really helpful. So now that we've got that, we found another Mumbo token down there. We found another thing. We can go ahead and explore up here. I don't think this is the way we have to go, but I'm going to go this way anyway, just because. Since it's open to us, we might as well explore it, right? Now, this isn't the way we got to go. This is actually the way to the 3rd level. But it's interesting that to see the fact that it doesn't necessarily not let you go here, but there's not much to do here at this stage anyway. There is a switch down here that you can press, though. Oh, missed it. There we go. Which causes those pipes to rise, which will allow us to jump across that to that other closed pipe over there. But we can't actually do anything over there yet. There's a honeycomb thing over there, but obviously we're at full health. We don't need that, so let's go ahead and head back. Now, instead of heading up, we'll follow the waterfall down. There are 2 ways we can go here as well. We can go down through that door, and then there's actually a way that you can go over here that you have to swim to. But that isn't going to be important until later. So we're going to go this way through this door. And this is the entrance to Treasure Trove Cove. One of my favorite levels in this game, and I believe it's a fan favorite as well. It's not a huge fan favorite, but it's a decent fan favorite. You can go ahead and jump on into the treasure chest and head on to the 2nd level. Now, one of the reasons this is a favorite level, the music. The music in this level is amazing. Another reason this is a favorite level is because of this guy. By diving into the water, we will soon encourage the wrath of Snacker the Shark. Basically, anytime you jump into the water in this level, you take your life into your hands because the shark will chase you until he basically disappears like a ghost. These crab enemies will scuttle at you sideways. You can just flip them over and then stomp on their stomachs to get 2 honeycomb pieces from them, or 1 honeycomb piece from them. If you just slam them without turning them over, you get 2 honeycomb pieces from them. But anyway, yeah, Snacker is a dangerous creature. You can kill him, yes, but you won't get anything from it, and you'll honestly lose more health trying than you will just running from him. Up here we got some feathers. We're going to want to grab these because they will be useful later. Unlike eggs, feathers do have a very high chance of running out. And as the little tutorial box there said, they are useful for when we actually learn to fly. Since we're a bird, or at least half of us are a bird, you can fly in this game. It's limited flight though, and these feathers are an extremely important part of that. So let's go ahead and head, well, we got 3 different ways we can go. We can go ahead to the right and to the left. We have mostly water over there to the right, so let's go ahead and head left first. We'll start by this. We'll start by going this way. Why can't I talk? And this is Nipper. Again, not much of a boss in this level, but this is the closest thing we've got to a boss. Basically, Kazooie takes it off, and we have to fight. So yeah, see, by slamming those guys without flipping them over, you get 2 honeycomb pieces instead of 1. So, this boss, quote-unquote boss, is easy. You just wait for him to stop snipping at you, then you jump up and peck him in the face. He does speed up gradually, but he's not that big of a deal, so... Even at his hardest, he's fairly easy to defeat, and again, we have so much health it really doesn't matter. So now, we can go ahead and head inside his shell, grab some more notes, and make use of some great lighting, even though it's not technically lighting, it's just kind of effects, but it still looks cool. And in here, we got some more eggs, we got a couple more crabs, though how those crabs are actually in here, and considering we're a small crab inside of a big crab, I honestly don't know how that works. There is also a Jiggy. Our first Jiggy of Treasure Trove Cove, if I can ever collect it. One other thing about this game you have to note is that there are no invincibility frames at all. Basically, the only invulnerability you have is Banjo's sort of stunned reaction after each hit. So, if you get in a position where an enemy is just hitting you again and again and again, you're going to die. So, keep that in mind. It's going to come up again later on in this game. Not right now, because most of the enemies at this point aren't terribly smart, so they'll basically just kind of wander away after hitting you once. So don't even worry about it right now. Now, we could go that way, but we haven't got the move that allows us to get up there. So let's go ahead and head back through this way. This is the same as the center path that we would have taken off of the entrance. There's a pirate ship up there, as well as somebody standing on its deck. There's also some notes up here in the tree. This game really requires you to look everywhere for collectibles, because just like Donkey Kong 64 after it, they hide stuff everywhere. They'll hide notes up in trees, they'll hide feathers up in trees, they'll hide eggs up in trees, and later on there'll even be a Jinjo up in a tree. So you really have to check all the trees just to make sure you get everything. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk to the Deckmaster here and see what he has to say. So he is Captain Blubber. He will again return for the sequel, but in this case he's basically lost his treasure and we're going to help him find it. The word for it is, spoilers, a Jiggy. It's not that hard to find, but first, before we do that, we're actually going to want to do two things. We're going to want to scale the yardarm and head up towards the mast, the crow's nest, or Kazooie nest, I suppose, and Bottles is here. And he is now teaching us the flying mechanics in this game. It's actually fairly easy, as he mentions. All we have to do is stand on that pad that he just made appear behind us, or at least made solid behind us, and press A. But we're not going to fly quite yet. We have a couple more things we need to collect here. We're going to grab the green Jinjo up here on top of the mast, and go ahead and climb down these ropes. I don't think Banjo can actually climb these. You have to actually use the Talon Trot to get up and down. You can see that the name of the ship is actually the Salty Hippo. And then we can go ahead and get Captain Blubber's gold. He has two parts to the gold, and one of them is right here in the main hold area. Go ahead and swim down in the water. Now, again, I want to note that there are dynamic music changes in this game. I did a Let's Play of Diddy Kong Racing a long time ago where I noted that dynamic music changes were a technology that people didn't think were possible on a cartridge system, and yet Rare did them, and they pioneered it. And it would be a staple for pretty much the rest of the N64's lifespan would be dynamic music changes, not necessarily music tracks, but at least changes in the theme. And this is one of the games that shows it off best, because you have music changes and things just as simple as diving underwater, as well as traveling from place to place in the overworld. And it really helps sell the atmosphere of this game. This game has got a great atmosphere. It's the one thing that this game really does have over Donkey Kong 64, is that if you're in Donkey Kong 64, unless you're really into the actual, you're really into the game, then the game doesn't have nearly as much personality as this game does. I played Donkey Kong 64 before I played this game, and before I played Banjo Tooie, and I prefer that game for that reason, but it's still, I still feel like when I play this game or when I play Banjo Tooie, there's more of a personality to it. Even just in the world itself, there seems to be much more of a feel to the game. Now, we can go ahead and toss Captain Blubber's gold up here for him. Suffer a poor frame rate. He gives us a Jiggy, and he goes off to spend, spend, spend. And again, he's going to be back in the sequel, so if I ever get around to doing Banjo Tooie, you'll be seeing Captain Blubber again. Now, we have a couple of different ways we can go here. We could try to jump across those boxes and head that way, but we're actually going to progress the level the way that they more or less designed us to. Now, these guys are the Munchers. They're clams, and they're annoying as heck because, number one, they're hard to kill. Number two, they will actually take your items when you beat them up, and they won't give you them back. After you kill them, you do not get them back. Your only chance to get them back is to try to grab them after they drop them. Now, all we have to do is jump up these boxes and head over here, and Bottles is ready for us. He's got one more move, another pad-based move. Shock Jump Spring. Basically, it allows us to do high jumps from a standing start that are higher than even our normal backflip is. So, for instance, we can take this. This area here would be normally completely inaccessible to us, but with the shock jump spring, we can do this. Grab some more notes. There's a Jinjo over there we're going to want to grab. This area can be a little bit tricky if you're not experienced with the shock jump, simply because the mechanic behind it is a little bit hard to master at first, but it's not that difficult, and honestly, after a couple of tries, you'll probably get the hang of it. There's a purple Jinjo. You can go ahead and jump over here, grab us some more feathers. There's also a Jiggy up there that we're obviously headed towards, and I don't know even why I'm posturing that I don't know where these things are, because I obviously do. I've played this game plenty of times before. So, go ahead and jump up here and grab this Jiggy. The shock jump is going to be very useful to us throughout this game, and you better get used to that sound effect of the stretching legs because you're going to be hearing it a lot.